Good day, grade 8. Today is our computer 8 in third quarter, week 2. My name is Winaldo B. Malimban. Our discussion for today is all about the basic skills on Illustrator. The Adobe Illustrator CS6 improved and changed the user interface for the better performance and user experience. The additions and modifications of the new Adobe Illustrator are the following. One is the flexible interface, and the second one is the inline editing. Third is the dialog access. Fourth, the cursors. Fifth, the dark theme. Fifth, control panel. Sixth, skill strokes and effects options, and the transparency panel. And now, the Adobe Illustrator interface has the following parts. So before of that, Adobe Illustrator is a computer software that enables users to design, modify, and edit vector graphics images. And this is the Adobe Illustrator feature in their parts. So the first part of this Adobe Illustrator interface is the applications bar. Application bar contains workspace, switcher, menu, and other application controls. And this is a picture based from the given in the slides. Next is the control panel. Control panel is a displays options for the current selected object. Why? Because by the default of the control panel is docked at the top of the workspace. Options displayed in the control panel vary depending on the type of the object or tool you select. Another one is the Tools panel. In the Tools panel, it holds the tools for creating and editing images, artwork, and page elements. It has related tools also that are grouped accordingly. Next is the panel dock. This panel dock, it holds additional panels that you can collapse, expand, or remove to create the desired workspace. By the default, the dock is set on the left-hand side of the screen. These panels help you monitor and modify your work easily. You just need to be systematic and organized to easily manipulate your artwork. Another part is the artboards. Artboard, it is a workspace. It represents that regions that can contain the printable artwork. You can resize it and set its orientation. Now, in Adobe Illustrator Tools, it shares some of the tools from the Adobe Page Maker and Adobe Editing Design. You will be familiar with the toolbox, and as you go along using it, you will notice that you don't even have to use all the tools. So we have the Adobe CC in the tool panel overview. So this tool panel holds a box of tools needed for working on images. A small arrow in the right hand corner holds the hidden tools. When click it will show a list of additional useful tools. So if you need to use some additional tools often, you can pair them off on their own toolbar. Just click and hold on tool you want to see and drag to the end of the tools to see the button with the gray triangle. And that is the complete sets of the tools. Now, The most commonly used tools in Adobe Illustrator are the following, from the icon, tool, and their function. The first tool is the selection tool. So selection tools select text and graphic frames. It allows you to work with an object using its bounding box. Next is the wrinkle tool. Now from the wrinkle tool is the art wrinkle-like details to the outline of an object. Next, direct selection tool. In the direct selection tool, it selects points of path segments within object. Next is the spiral tool. It draws clockwise and counterclockwise spirals. Next is a group selection tool. It selects a group of points and an object within the group. Next is the grid tool. This grid tool, in their function, it draws a rectangular grids. Next is the symbol spray tool. This symbol of spray tool, it moves that symbol of the stanches of the closer than the together or the farther apart. And also it plays multiple symbol stanches as the set on artboard. Next is the magic wand. Magic wand selects objects with the similar attributes. It selects objects with the same fill color, stroke weight, stroke color, opacity, or blending mode. We can specify the color range or tolerance to control what the magic wand tool selects. Next is lasso tool. This function selects objects, anchor points, or path segments within object. Star tool. This function is to draw stars. Pen tool. Pen tool. This function draws straight and curved lines to create object. Next is a flare tool. A flare tool is the moves of symbol instances closer together in their distancing symbol. So it is create this flare on the solar flare-like effect. Next is the add anchor point tool. Add anchor point tool, its function adds anchor points to paths. Delete anchor point. Deletes points from a path without breaking a path. Next is convert direction point. It changes smooth points to corner points in the vice versa. Next is the type tool. Type tool creates individual type and type containers and lets you enter and edit type. Another tool is the scale tool. Scale tool is resizes objects around a fixed point. Type on the path tool. It changes paths to type paths and lets you enter and edit type on them. Next is the share tool. Share tool is the skew object around a fixed point. Next is the line tool. Line tool, it functions draw individual straight line segments. Ellipse tool, it draws circles and ovals. Polygon tool. Polygon tool, it draws regular and multi-side shapes. Next is the area graph. Area graph tool creates graphs that are similar to line graphs but emphasizes totals as well as changes in values. Next is the block tool. It places an object by moving control points away from the cursor. Next is the pencil tool. It draws in edit freehand lines. Next is a pie graph tool. A pie graph tool, it creates circular graphs whose weights represent the relative percentage of the values compared. Next is crystallized tool. It adds random spike details to the outline of an object. Next is the gradient. Gradient is the complete set of tools that all fixed in the tool. It also adjusts the beginning and ending points in the angle of gradients within objects or applies a gradient to object. Next is the arc tool. Arc tool, it draws individual concave or convex curved segments. Next is the free transform tool. It scales with rotates or screws as selections. Next is a polar grid tool. It draws circular chart grids. Next is the symbol shape tool. These symbol shape tools move symbol stances and change stacking order. Next is symbol scratch tool. It moves symbol stances closer together or farther apart. Next is the symbol size tool. It resizes symbol stances. Next is the erase tool. It erases paths and anchor points from the object. Next is the symbol spin tool. This symbol spin tool is rotate symbol stances. Next is rotate tool. It rotates objects around a fixed point. Another tool is the symbol stain tool. This symbol stain tool is colorize symbols in stances. Next is the reflect tool. Reflect tool, it flips objects over a fixed axis. Next is the symbol screener tool. It applies opacity to symbol stances. Next is the column graph tool. It creates graphs that compare value and using vertical columns. Another is the stack column graph tool. It creates graphs that are similar to column graphs but stacks the columns on the top on one another instead of side by side. So this graph type is useful for showing the relationship of parts to the total. Next is reshape tool. Adjust selected anchor points while keeping the overall detail of the path intact. Next, the bar graph tool. It creates graphs that are similar to the column graphs but positions the bar of horizontally instead of vertically. Next is the warp tool. It molds objects with the movement of the cursor. Next is stack bar graph tool. Stack bar graph tool, it creates graphs that are similar to the stack columns graphs but stacks the bar horizontally instead of vertically. Next is the rectangle tool. Rectangle tool, it draws a square and rectangles. Next is the twirl tool. It creates swirling distortions within an object. Next is the line group or the line graph tool. A line graph tool, it creates graphs that use points to the represents one or more sets of values with a different line joining the points in each set. So this type of graph is often used to show the trend of one or more subjects over the period of time. Next is the Packer tool. Its function deflates an object by moving control points towards the cursor. Next is the paintbrush tool. It draws freehand and calligraphic lines as well as art patterns and bristle brush strokes on paths. Next is the scatter graph tool. This scatter graph tool, it screw objects and fix the point. It creates graphs that plot data points as paired set of coordinates along the x and y axis. Next is the scallop tool. It adds random curve details to the outline of an object. Next is the smooth tool. Smooth tool, it functions smooths the scissor path. Next is the radar graph tool. It creates graphs that compare sets of the values at given points in time or particular categories and is displayed in circular format. This type of graph is also called a web graph. If you've seen this area of the Adobe Illustrator, and there are so many functions beside of their tool. And this is their example of my Adobe Illustrator. Before we end this lesson, Adobe Illustrator CS6 improved and changed the user interface for the better performance and the user experience. With the addition of this, the modifications of new Adobe Illustrator interface are that following. We have flexible, inline, dialog boxes, cursors, dark theme, control panel, scale strokes, and effect options, and the transparency panel. That's all for today. Thank you and goodbye. For more updates, please monitor our e-class online learning platform. This is Reynaldo B. Malimban, your computer aide.